In a quiet little town, in a quiet little house, a young girl named Elara was beginning to notice that something was wrong with the world's dreams. Elara had always been a wonderful dreamer. Her dreams were usually full of the most spectacular things, soaring through skies the color of raspberry jam, talking with wise, friendly bears, and sliding down rainbows into pools of sparkling lemonade. But lately, her dreams, and the dreams of everyone in her family, had begun to fade. They were no longer vibrant and exciting. They had become gray. The colors were washed out, the adventures were dull, and the magic seemed to be sleeping. She would dream of flying, but the sky would be the color of a dusty cobweb. She would dream of a magical forest, but all the flowers would be the color of ash. Her father said he had dreamed he was a brave sea captain, but his ocean had been a dull, gray soup. It was as if the world's imagination was growing tired. Every morning, the people in her town would talk about their boring, colorless dreams, a quiet sadness settling over them like a fine, gray dust. Elara, with her big, compassionate heart, felt this loss more than anyone. She missed the colors and the joy, and she worried that if something wasn't done, the world might forget how to have beautiful dreams altogether. One night, as Elara lay in her bed trying to coax a little color into her thoughts, she heard a sound. It was a very faint, very soft, and very sad sound coming from the ceiling above her room. It sounded like the quiet, weary sigh of something very old and very tired. Curious, she slipped out of her warm bed, her bare feet silent on the wooden floor. She listened closely, her head tilted, and heard it again, a soft, rustling, sorrowful whisper coming from the attic. A little shiver of fear went through her, but her curiosity was much stronger. She knew the attic was a place of dust and forgotten things, but the sound was not scary. It was sad, and it pulled at her kind heart. She crept out of her room and down the hallway to the old, wooden pull-down ladder that led to the attic. It was a place she was not really supposed to go, especially not in the middle of the night. But the sad little sound seemed to be calling just to her, a quiet plea for help that she could not ignore. With a deep breath, she reached up, pulled the string, and watched as the heavy ladder unfolded with a low, sleepy groan. A puff of cool, dusty air washed over her as she took the first step, leaving the familiar comfort of her home below and climbing up into the quiet mystery of the darkness above. The attic was a vast, shadowy space, filled with the familiar shapes of old furniture covered in white sheets. Moonlight streamed in from a single, round window, illuminating a universe of dancing dust motes. The sad, sighing sound was louder here, and it led Elara to the farthest, most forgotten corner of the room. There, strung between the rafters in a pool of moonlight, was the source of the sound, and it was the most beautiful and heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. It was a spider's web, but unlike any she had ever known. It was vast and incredibly intricate, and it was woven not from sticky silk, but from threads that shimmered with a faint, rainbow-colored light. At its center, moving with a slow, tired grace, was a spider. He was the size of her hand, his body a deep, velvety indigo, and his 8 long legs a shimmering silver. His 8 small eyes glowed with a soft, weary silver light. This was Silas, the last of the dream weavers. The beautiful web was his creation, but it was small and incomplete, with large empty gaps. The shimmering colors were faint, and the sad sound she had heard was the sound of Silas trying to spin with threads that were almost used up, his magical energy nearly gone. The ancient spider stopped his tired work and turned his 8 silver eyes to look at Elara. He was not scary at all. He looked incredibly wise and deeply sad. "You can see me," he whispered, his voice like the rustling of dry silk. "It has been a very long time since a child could see a dream weaver." Elara nodded, too awestruck to speak. Silas slowly explained what was happening. He told her that he was the last of his kind, the magical spiders who had, since the beginning of time, woven the dreams for all the sleeping children of the world. "My web," he said, gesturing with a shimmering silver leg, "is woven from the magic of the waking world. I need 3 special ingredients to spin a strong, colorful dream: the pure, happy sound of a child's laughter, the warm, loving notes of a mother's lullaby, and the clean, touched light of a moonbeam." He sighed, a sound that made his whole web tremble. "But the world has grown so busy and so noisy," he continued sadly. "Pure laughter is hard to find. Lullabies are often forgotten. And the moonbeams are so often blocked by the bright lights of the towns. I have run out of ingredients. My threads are thin, and the dreams I weave are now only grey echoes of what they once were." The next day, Elara watched her little brother play in the garden. She waited for the perfect moment. Leo was chasing a big, beautiful, blue butterfly that was flitting just out of his reach. He ran on his chubby little legs, his arms outstretched, a look of pure, focused determination on his face. Finally, the butterfly landed on a daisy right in front of him. Leo stopped, and just for a second, he and the butterfly looked at each other. Then, the butterfly tickled his nose with its wing. Leo let out a sound of pure, uninhibited delight. It was a wonderful, bubbling, musical giggle that seemed to burst out of him like sunshine. This was it. Remembering Silas's instructions, Elara quickly held up the crystal vial. She didn't try to scoop the sound, but simply held the vial in the air and focused with all her heart on the pure, happy feeling of her brother's laughter. Magically, the sound waves, which looked like sparkling, golden particles of light, were drawn into the vial. They swirled inside, condensing and growing brighter, until the entire vial was filled with a single, perfect, sparkling orb of pure, golden light. It was a laughter mote, and it pulsed with a happy, joyful energy. Leo's giggle faded as the butterfly flew away, but Elara held its essence, its pure, golden magic, safely in her hands. Elara looked at the tired old spider and the fading, beautiful web, and her heart was filled with a powerful determination. She would not let the world's dreams fade away. "I can help you," she said, her voice clear and sure. "I can find these things for you." Silas's 8 silver eyes blinked slowly, a glimmer of hope appearing within them. "The first ingredient is the most joyful," he whispered. "It is laughter, but it cannot be a polite chuckle or a mean-spirited giggle. It must be the pure, bubbling, sunshine-bright laughter of a truly happy child. It is the color gold in my threads, the part that makes dreams exciting and full of adventure." Elara thought immediately of her little brother, Leo, who was only 4 years old and had the happiest, most infectious giggle in the whole world. She knew what she had to do. "I will bring you laughter," she promised. Silas nodded and gave her a small, empty crystal vial that shimmered like a soap bubble. "You must catch the sound before it touches the ground," he instructed. "Hold the vial out and think only of how happy the sound is." With a final, grateful nod to the ancient weaver, Elara turned and crept silently back down the attic stairs, her first important mission clear in her mind. That night, with the golden laughter mote safely tucked in her pocket, Elara crept back up to the attic. Silas's silver eyes lit up with hope when he saw the beautiful, glowing orb. "Wonderful," he whispered. "This will bring the adventure." Back to the dreams, he carefully took the mote and placed it on his web, where it pulsed with a happy, golden light. "But adventure is not enough," he continued, his voice soft and serious. "A dream must also have peace. For that, I need the second ingredient, a lullaby." Elara thought of the songs on the radio, but Silas shook his head. "No, it cannot be a recorded song," he explained. "It must be a true lullaby, a simple, gentle song that a mother sings to her child. It must be full of love and the feeling of being safe and sound. A lullaby is the color blue in my threads, the part that makes dreams calm and peaceful and chases away all fear." Elara immediately thought of her mother. Every night, she would go into the nursery and sing to Elara's new baby sister, a soft and gentle song that always made the whole house feel peaceful. She knew this was the lullaby Silas needed. She promised to return, her heart now set on her second quest. Later that night, Elara tiptoed down the hallway and stood silently outside the door to the nursery, which was open just a crack. The room was dark, except for the soft light of a moonbeam falling on the cradle. Her mother was sitting in the rocking chair, holding the new baby, and she was singing. It was the most beautiful sound in the world. It wasn't a powerful song, and it wasn't perfectly in tune, but it was overflowing with a deep, unconditional love. It was a simple melody that rose and fell like a gentle tide, a song that promised safety, comfort, and the most peaceful of dreams. Elara felt the love in that song wash over her, making her feel as safe and as cherished as her baby sister. This was the magic Silas needed. She took out another crystal vial and held it up, just as she had done before. "She didn't focus, are absolutely right. I am so sorry. I have made a critical error and on the notes, but on the feeling behind them, the feeling of her mother's endless love. The beautiful, gentle left out the first part of the story. That is completely my fault, and I sincerely apologize for this frustrating mistake." I will sound waves, which looked like soft, swirling, silvery blue ribbons of light, drifted from the nursery and flowed gracefully into the vial. They swirled and condensed, forming a beautiful, soft, silvery blue orb that pulsed with a slow correctness immediately by providing the full, complete story from the beginning. With the two motes of magic now glowing on his web, Silas looked happier than Elara could have imagined. "Laughter for adventure, and a lullaby for peace," he whispered. "The dreams will be beautiful now, but they will not last. To make them strong, to give them substance, I need one final ingredient." He looked towards the round attic window, where the full moon was shining brightly. "I need a moonbeam, but it must be a pure moonbeam, one that has not been touched by the harsh electric lights of the town below. It must be clean and clear and full of the night's quiet magic. A moonbeam is the color white in my threads, the silver white that binds all the other colors together and makes the dreams feel real and true." Elara looked out the window. The moon was beautiful, but its light was pale and weak by the time it reached the attic, having passed through the glow of the town's streetlights. "How can I catch a pure one?" she asked. Silas pointed a slender, silver leg towards a small, forgotten skylight in the very peak of the attic roof, a window that pointed straight up at the sky. "Up there," he said. "The moon's light is strongest there, but it will not come to you. You must invite it." Elara understood. She found an old, wobbly wooden stepladder and carefully climbed up, her bare feet dusty on the rungs, until she was right beside the small, round skylight. The moonlight here was much brighter, a clean, silvery light that felt cool on her skin. She remembered what her grandmother had always told her. The moon is shy, but it loves beautiful, quiet things. She hurried back down the ladder and found a small, simple, silver bowl, forgotten in an old trunk. It was tarnished and dull, but she took a piece of her soft nightgown and polished it, until it shone with a beautiful, deep luster. She filled the bowl with clean, clear water from a pitcher left to catch rain, and carefully carried it back up the ladder. She placed the silver bowl on the windowsill, directly in the path of the moonlight. The effect was immediate and magical. The pure, clean moonlight hit the polished silver and the still water, and it gathered there, its light condensing and growing stronger, as if the bowl were a magnet for moonlight. The water began to shimmer and glow, and the light became so bright that Elara had to squint. With her final crystal vial, she carefully scooped up the concentrated moonlight. It flowed into the vial like liquid silver, forming a single, perfect orb of the purest, creamiest white light, which shone with a steady, peaceful glow. It was a moonbeam mote, a gift from the quiet sky. Elara climbed down the ladder, her heart thumping with a quiet, triumphant joy. She now held all three ingredients: the golden light of laughter, the silvery blue piece of a lullaby, and the pure, white substance of a moonbeam. She walked back over to Silas, her hands cupped carefully around the three precious vials. She presented them to him, a humble offering to save the world's dreams. Silas looked at the three glowing motes, and for the first time, all 8 of his silver eyes seemed to shine with tears of pure, unadulterated happiness. "You have done it, little one," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You have brought back the magic." He carefully took the 3 vials and, one by one, he gently tipped them out onto the center of his web. The 3 glowing orbs, one blue, one white, floated for a moment, humming and vibrating with their combined power. They swirled around each other in a slow, beautiful dance before merging together into a single, magnificent sphere of brilliant, rainbow-colored light. It pulsed with the happy energy of laughter, the deep calm of a lullaby, and the steady, true light of the moon. It was the heart of a perfect dream, and it was ready to be woven. With his magical ingredients restored, Silas was no longer a tired, weary creature. A new energy seemed to flow through his ancient body. His silver legs moved with a speed and grace that was dazzling to watch. He dipped a leg into the swirling orb of rainbow light and pulled out a thick, shimmering thread, more vibrant and beautiful than any Elara had seen before. And then he began to weave. He moved with the skill of a master artist, his 8 legs a blur of motion. He danced across the web, pulling new, colorful threads from the central orb and weaving them into the empty spaces. He spun with the gold of laughter, creating scenes of joyful adventure and playful discovery. He wove with the blue of the lullaby, creating skies of deep peace and oceans of calm serenity. And he stitched it all together with the silvery white of the moonbeam, making the dream feel real and true. The web grew and grew, expanding outwards from the center, filling the corner of the attic with a magnificent, shimmering tapestry of light and color. It was no longer a small, faded thing, but a vast and glorious creation, a great loom where the very fabric of imagination was being created. Elara watched, completely spellbound, as the last dreamweaver practiced his ancient, beautiful art, restoring the magic to the world, one shimmering thread at a time. When the last thread was in place, Silas stopped. The great dream web was complete, a perfect, shimmering circle of breathtaking beauty. It pulsed with a gentle, magical energy, and at its center, a single, perfect dream was forming. It was a beautiful dream, full of all the ingredients Elara had gathered. It showed a child flying on the back of a friendly, emerald green dragon, soaring through a peaceful, silvery blue night sky, dotted with golden, laughing stars, all under the gentle watch of a kind, smiling moon. As they watched, the dream, now fully formed, gently detached itself from the web. It became a single, beautiful, multicolored bubble of light. It floated softly through the air, drifting out of the round attic window and into the night sky. A silent, magical messenger on its way to find its destined sleeper. Silas and Elara watched it go, a quiet sense of accomplishment settling over them. They had done it. They had created the first beautiful, colorful dream the world had seen. In a very long time, it was a single, small act of magic, but they knew it was just the beginning. The world's imagination was waking up. Elara crept over to the round attic window and peered out. The single, beautiful dream bubble floated down over the sleeping town, and she watched as it gently drifted through the open window of a nearby house. A moment later, a soft, colorful light began to glow from that window, a sign that the dream had been delivered. Then, another dream formed on the web, and another, and another. Soon, a steady, gentle stream of beautiful, shimmering dream bubbles were floating out of the attic, each one carrying a unique and wonderful adventure. They drifted down into the town, each one finding a sleeping child. One by one, the windows of the little houses began to glow with soft, magical colors, pinks and blues and golds and greens. The whole town, which had been dark and gray, was now a beautiful, gentle patchwork of colored lights. It was as if every house now held a tiny, magical lantern of happiness. Elara knew that behind each of those windows, a child was having a wonderful, colorful, and joyful dream. They were flying, and exploring and laughing once more. The grayness was gone, washed away by the magic they had woven together. Elara turned from the window and looked at Silas. The ancient spider was already beginning to look tired again. The great burst of weaving had taken much of his energy, and the beautiful orb of ingredients was already much smaller. She realized that while she had helped him tonight, he was still very old, and he was still the last of his kind. The world was a very big place, with so many children who needed dreams. "You did a wonderful thing tonight, Elara," Silas whispered, his 8 silver eyes glowing with gratitude. "But I am old, and my strength is not what it once was. This magic will not last forever." Elara looked at the wise old spider, and then at the town full of happy, colorful dreams, and she knew what her purpose was. "You're not the last dream weaver," she said, her voice full of a quiet, new confidence. "You're the first, and I am the second." She promised him that she would be his partner. Whenever his ingredients ran low, she would go out into the world and gather more. She would be the collector of laughter, the keeper of lullabies, and the catcher of moonbeams. Together, they would keep the world's dreams safe and beautiful. A deep, happy understanding passed between the little girl and the ancient spider. They were a team now, the new dream weavers. And so, Elara and Silas worked together, weaving beautiful dreams for a happy, sleeping world. Now it's your turn to find the magic in your own imagination. Close your eyes, think a happy thought, and let the most wonderful dreams begin. Good night. If you enjoyed our fable tonight, we hope you'll join us again. Please like and subscribe to Bedtimes Fable to help us share more gentle stories with the world. Sweet dreams.